Alright, hello everyone. This is Jakekub, and I figured, I don't really know why, but for this intro I just wanted to do like kind of a making of video. If you guys like this, I might end up doing this for more intros. I think I saw Kanako do this first, so credit to him for kind of giving me the idea for this, but I don't know, something along the line, stuff happened, so I'm just going to go through how I made the Survivor intro. This was a lot of work. Probably took, it took like a month and a half to make. So if you haven't seen it, I'm just going to play it real quick. Alright, so that was basically the intro. Sorry that it got laggy at the end, but it was basically just repeating all the same stuff from earlier. Nothing too special. So, first thing I'm going to go over is the start. So, originally, what I wanted to do with this part, there's the 18 castaways text, and you'll see that there's a lot of keyframes here, because I try to keep this last period centered on the tree a little bit, as best as I could. What I originally wanted to do was to use replay mod, and have it so the boat, so like the 18 castaways would kind of fade off into the distance. So like as you're traveling through the boat, eventually by the time you get to here, the 18 castaways is nowhere on screen. I couldn't really get replay mod to work, and that was kind of like a last minute. I wanted to do that since the beginning, but I kind of just needed to get this intro done. I finished it the day before I left for Disney, and there was really no more time for me to fix anything else. This was it. I barely got it done in time, so this doesn't bother me too much. If I could have done replay mod here, it would have been nice. But other than that, it's just a simple clip of the boat using the Jungle Ruins resource pack, which is Nintendo She wanted me to use it for some reason. I think he was probably using it when spectating or something like that. But it fits the Survivor theme pretty well. Yeah, it's just the boat going through the map. That's basically it. Then what we got going on here is that we've got two fades going on here. So we've got the fade in to the background here, which is inside, which is just a wall, and then there's this little painting, and then there's fire and whatever. And I think this is like supposed to be something. It's something in the Survivor thing. I don't know exactly. I'm not huge into Survivor. I just have to make the intro. So we've got the background fading in, and then we've got the logo. I made this logo. I'm fairly happy with it. It's alright. Like, it's nothing amazing, but it's nothing terrible either. So the other thing I tried doing is I tried making these edges match with this here. Ended up working out fairly well. I probably could have perfected it a little bit more if I wanted to. And then what happens right here is kind of interesting. So we've got Survivor Logo 4 and Survivor Logo 5. So Survivor Logo 4 starts to fade in. And what Survivor Logo 4 does is Survivor Logo 4 has the white outline on it. If I go through there's a lot of files on here. If I can eventually find it. There's one of them. If I find the other one has a white outline to it. Yeah, there it is. So Survivor Logo 4 is the white outline. So that fades in, and at the same time, Survivor... Well, actually... it doesn't fade out. What I did is I just put Survivor Logo 4 over it, and I just made the opacity go up. And both of these follow the same path, so it just gives the illusion that Survivor Logo 5 is fading out. I don't know. Either way, it makes the white background appear. We've got, the reason I added the white outline in the first place is because it looked kind of bad, just like that. So I made another logo with an outline to it. Alright, so that was kind of the whole introduction part. Next up, we've got this part here. So we've got a Gaussian blur on the background, first of all, and then at each beat, a part of the logo comes in, and it also skips forward in the jungle a little bit. You can kind of see the jump cut there. So the way Offie comes in with a directional blur. Just a directional blur downwards. Fairly simple. And then Tribal Camps, which is this here, it scales from 0 to 100. Just come in like that. And jump cuts are still happening at the same time. Then this part right here, it's just a slide out. So it's not the smoothest thing in the world, but because it goes so fast, it doesn't really make a huge difference. And then this part also just slides out. And then lastly, I have it kind of bounce at you like that. And then I also have the little shine effect, thanks to Lenboy for helping me out with that one. Didn't know how to do it. I kind of had an idea of how to do it, but he told me pretty much exactly how to do it, and I figured it out. So then the logo fades out. Then we've got the players, and at this point, it's fairly simple. You've got one clip, you've got this clip that just zooms in, fairly simple. And then you've got a directional blur and an offset. And then the cross zoom makes them kind of blend together. This is a fairly simple transition in Premiere. There's all the effects on the side if you want to see it. It's pretty simple. And then what goes on here is that in 4 frames, the background blurs a hell of a lot. And Keoki, he has the directional blur zoom in effect for like 8 frames or something like that. So he just zooms in from the side on this first beat. And then on the second beat, right here, the shine starts, and then the Keoki owner name comes in, which it kind of looks a little weird if you slow it down, but by the end of it, it ends up working. So I think that's just how the directional blur works, to be honest. So at the same time as this is going down, the text comes in. The text, something you might not have noticed, it's kind of smaller detail. Each person has the font that I found. I think it's called Touch of Nature or something like that, that I use for the names here. Each player has the fish on a different letter. So Keoki has it on the O, Sam has it on the P, Miles has it on the 1. So they all have it on different letters, which is kind of a small detail. And then we've got the little red inner glow, and then I believe there's also a drop shadow on the text that I added. Yep, there's a drop shadow that I added in. It's not too noticeable, but I think it makes a difference. Another thing that I don't point out is that while this flash is going down, there's also a drop shadow, so there's a lot that happens on the second beat, to be honest. There was something else I was considering doing here. I was considering adding like a little stats like message thing. So I didn't really have too many ideas for it, but think of the New Dawn 11A intro, the one that Berg made, where it was like the Western theme, and he had like wanted dead for, and then there was 3 reasons or something like that. I wanted to do something like this, so it's like kind of why there, and I don't know. It was just an idea. I ended up keeping it simple and never really got to that idea. Okay, so now what happens here is that we've got a spin transition, which actually, if you look closely, it doesn't, for whatever reason, I couldn't get this to work, but it only comes in on the second half of, I I don't know why it wouldn't show up, but it would only show up on the second half of the clip, which kind of sucks. Otherwise, we've just got a zoom out, or we up the scale a lot, go from 100 to 300, and then fade out on the name and the player. And then here's a transition into the next player. And it kind of just repeats from there. So the main transitions I used were this little slide transition with the blur, the spin transition, and I also used this zoom in a little bit. You see, you used it again right there. Here's a little design choice, I guess you could call it. With Miles here, for most of the other players, I would do 2 clips. So for Sam, we've got this little bow clip, got the sword clip. And then for Miles, it's just this 1 clip of him dying to a creeper. The main reason for this is just part of the song. That little, ha. I just thought it'd fit well to kind of introduce the terrain a little bit. I wanted to incorporate parts of the Survivor theme. I didn't want this to just be your stereotypical UHC intro. I wanted to incorporate the elements of Survivor into the intro, which is part of the reason why I chose this song. It's got that kind of Survivor-esque feel to it. So whenever I had an opportunity to, I tried to hint at the whole Survivor aspect. This was just the first example of it. So we've got a circle out transition, and we've also got a brightness with a mask that zooms out. So you've got like kind of 2 circles going on. Then fades out. Right here, this clip up here is when Tux's clip starts coming, so it zooms in from quite a ways into Tux. I used a flash transition. That's another transition that I use. It's just the same stereotypical thing. Got that. Here's the full spin transition when it actually worked. This instance right here is the first time I'm using it downwards. This was actually deliberate because he starts up in a sky base, TNT is falling, and then I forgot to put a cross dissolve here, damn. Don't mind me. Anyways, that probably would have helped it a little bit. It's a little picky thing, whatever. So that was an intentional transition right there. Some of the other ones, it was just kind of fill in space. This was intentional. I don't know if many people noticed that. And then, at this point here, what I did here is because I knew that I had 2 more players to do, but this part right here doesn't line up with the rest. So what I did is I incorporated part of the red team, and we started with the red team, as you can see by the red outline. So this clip of the camp here, it shows the red camp, basically. Because it's the red team. And this was kind of just fill in space, incorporate more Survivor aspects to it. We've got the bars coming in and out. We've also got this camera overlay, which I think is pretty alright. We've also got the tint. It's a little gray tint. You can kind of notice it. I think it's on the, no, it's not on the individual effect. It's on this way right above it. You can see it's quite a difference, to be honest. Right here, you do another one, just more transitions and stuff. And now we are done. So that is the last player. Mischievous was the last of the 9. So again, the transition didn't really work here. So this part here, I wanted to make sure that I showed one of the challenges in the intro, because that's kind of a big part of Survivor. So I had Nintendo send me one of the challenges right here. Put the camera overlay, the black and white again. I think I did just pure black and white for this one. Yeah, I just did pure black and white. Probably would have been better to stick with the tint. Little nitpicky things. Not a huge deal. So what happens here? This is actually quite a complicated process. So we've got the opening challenge clip, and then this clip, it's a crop, and it comes down, and it shows, it does a split screen effect. So it shows introducing the challenge, and then people playing the challenge. And then over here, what we've got happening, there's a little, that kind of bothered me, but there was nothing I could really do to fix it. So then what happens is when we get to this clip right here, I believe. Yeah, this one. It zooms in from the right all the way. So it gets rid of that bottom half right there. If I had another clip to use here, and if I had more time, what I would have done is I would have had a clip come this way and up top. I feel like that would have made it go a little smoother. But still not a huge deal. Actually, what ends up, it's not a new clip, it's just this top clip, just coming in from the right, replacing the bottom clip. And then we've got a slide transition, another clip challenge, another clip of the challenge, and just we got the zoom in here, and then we just got a jump cut, and then we've got a scale inwards that goes quick at first, goes from like 100 to 130, and then it slowly fades out. So it kind of pops and then slows down a little bit. Then we got the next part of the logo coming in. Pretty simple stuff. It's the same formula as the first one, pretty much. Something I regret doing here, I introduced this clip the same way I did Kaoki's clip. I did a flash transition here. I should have done a downwards transition like I did with Bobby. But, oh well. It's just a little small thing that wouldn't have made a huge difference in the end. BJ's clip here. This transition was also intentional. He started in the surface and ends up drowning underwater. Let's see what else is there. This next clip here. This part. I just needed to fill space, so I put the camera overlay again. And this is just clips of people walking around. This is all blue team walking around, but not at their base. This is kind of just to show more of the terrain again, incorporating different elements of Survivor again. And then we've got the same section, but this time it's showing the blue team at their actual base. And then that pretty much wraps up the whole intro. For Sugar here, I actually used 3 different clips because that's just how the beat worked. And now we are at the end. So what goes on here, Squish jumps out, and it actually just jump cuts. That was kind of not smart of me. I should have... It doesn't really matter too much. But just jump cuts, the Survivor UHC logo fades in. Pi and them, so you see how Squish is pretty big. They come in big and go small. These clips, they have, where is it? Server Pi. It's the offset and the directional blur. And I actually have it like twice in there for whatever reason. I don't know. At this point, the little fish, they only had their unique one for the players. So once we got to here, it, like the S and the E, you just saw Leagues right here. League had it on the E. Over here, Pi has it on the E. So I stopped it here. This is also white at the end, just for credits. It's neutral color instead of just the blue. Got the logo, got the players. I did something kind of different here. Instead of just doing organization : Nintendo or whatever, I did organization with Nintendo over it and server with Pi above it. Kind of just to create the rectangle effect in a way. And then it's just the same. This was a little tedious to do. It's the same directional blur effect. The directional blur with the offset, so they kind of fade in. They come in from the side. Here is where I just did the credits and stuff, like with the comma. But I figured for here, because these two were kind of the two big boys behind it, I'd do something a little different here. And then it's just credits, and they go opposite ways, so these two go that way, those two go that way. Could have lined these up better. Oh well, didn't have, I ran out of time. And then we've got a flash transition. Special thanks to the helpers. Originally, Nintendo was like, I'm not going to mention all the helpers because there's too many of them, but I had this cool idea, and he was like, just give me, I told him to give me all the names just because I wanted to see if I could get it to work. These guys here, they all just did, some of them spectated, some of them helped set up the map, etc., etc. Phenom, he did the logo, he also did some help for the actual thing, so yeah, credit to him. So, Nintendo didn't really expect me to do this, but he liked how this came out. There's 5 people per row, so there ended up being exactly 15 people, and they all lined up very well, surprisingly. So yeah, that's basically it. They scale in, and then at that point they just dissolve out. That's pretty much the whole intro. The other thing you might notice is that for all of these, they've got this little time capsule. What that means is it's either an ease in or ease out. So usually at the end of so right here at the start, this is an ease out because you're going out into something else, and over here it's an ease in. So it kind of just helps smooth the transitions instead of just being linear. Like I'm gonna go to the start here. So we've got Layoffy Tribal Camp, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this to, I'm just going to set all of this to linear. And we're going to see the difference. So let's watch that again. You saw that there, right? Now we're going to undo it, set it back. You see it? You see the difference in the smoothness? It makes quite a large difference, to be honest. So that's the main reason. It's really just for smoothness. The other thing is that there's this little audio clip right here. I'm just going to play it separately. So originally, this intro was a lot shorter, but I ran out of time, so I needed to extend it. And it ended up just kind of working out. So it just ended up working out to be the perfect length. Just love when that kind of stuff happens. And this part of the song also works better for credits than this does. It kind of just takes this beat at the start, and it's like a faded out version of it. I don't know. I'm just... whatever. That's basically it. I think I went over pretty much everything. I color-coded all the markers. So, orange markers were for the... Orange markers were for the blue team, the Tawaga. Yeah, Tawaga. And over here, I used the pink to signify... I don't know. The markers weren't too clear, because I did do some, like all these green markers here, I just did those without really color coding them. But when I had to start planning for the rest of the intro, I started color coding them. The blue was for these parts here, for the survivor clips. And then this blue right here it represents the end. It's when I need to start the credits. That's pretty much all the color coding meant. What's this red? Oh, this red was for the for Miles. I think that's pretty much everything with this intro. So, thanks for watching. If you did, if you want me to do more of these, I might do more of them in the future. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.